Hello, and thank you so much for serving at the Oaks Kids in the elementary classrooms on this Sunday, October 13th, 2024. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of two just general knowledge things that can help you here when you're serving. The first one is I am currently in the alcove of our second, third grade classroom. This is where we have two bookcases that house all of our extra materials. So if you are serving in a classroom and you are teaching a lesson and you realize that you are missing a material, like you need white paper or you need construction paper or whatever the material might be, one of the teachers can leave the class to come back here to these two bookcases to find what you need. Everything is pretty well labeled. At the very top is the most random of things that we don't use very often, but we've used them a couple times so we need them. We have markers and crayons and glue and Play-Doh and all the things, construction paper, regular paper. And then down here is a lot of different random things that get used actually pretty often, that they're all labeled down here. Now, if you look in the next bookcase over to the left of it, it's a little bit different. So the bottom is some center activities. Above it is paint, which again is a shared material. And then the next three shelves, the top three shelves, are specific to different classrooms. So we have them labeled for second and third grade and fourth and fifth grade. They have the same stuff. They have their scissors because scissors are tucked away because we ordered bigger ones this year for their bigger hands. But because they are big and very sharp, they are tucked away until you actually need to get them out for that part of the activity, as well as extra crayons, pencils, markers. The top shelf is specifically a teacher shelf. You've got scissors, tape, paper clips, Sharpies, Ziploc bags in case if a student is working on something and they don't finish it and you want to put it in a Ziploc bag to send home so it makes it home safely without losing its pieces. But so this is just kind of general knowledge, and I'm going to show you the next quick general knowledge thing before we move into this week's lessons. So our second general knowledge thing is just our class schedule. They are posted in every classroom. They are also dated in every classroom. So we have two different versions of the schedule. One is for our regular weekly schedule and the other is for Memory Verse Sunday. So when you are serving, look for the date you're serving. That is the schedule that you'll follow because this is a regular Sunday on the 13th. This is what we're doing. At 10 o'clock is when the Belong activity starts. So kids start coming into the classroom at 9:50. And for those 10 minutes, if you were in the older two small groups, they can just sit around and chat and visit with you. If they are in the kindergarten first grade classroom, they have their take-home sheet. The back side of it is a coloring sheet, and they can just work on the coloring side until 10 o'clock arrives. And that way they can still chat, but keep their hands busy. At 10 o'clock, you should start the Belong activity. Kids are going to still be arriving at 10. So one teacher can lead the Belong while the other teacher is taking attendance on the iPad as kids are arriving. Then at 10:10 is when the Belong activity should be completely wrapped up and everyone is moving into the large group classroom. Kindergarten and first grade, you are already there. So you guys should be the first ones on the carpet, the closest to the stage, since they are the littlest and so they can see it the best. Second and third grade, when you come, bring your iPad and Bibles because there will still be kids that will arrive during large group time, and that way you can take the attendance as they're arriving. Fourth and fifth grade, you have a long list of things to bring. In fact, I forgot to write one thing up there, which is probably the most important, which is actually two things: your cell phones as well as your walkie-talkie. So you are going to be going upstairs following large group lessons. So you want to bring these things with you to large groups so that you don't have to make a detour back to the classroom to get these things because time is precious. So you'll bring your iPad, cell phones, and walkie-talkie. The kids will bring their Bibles, have the upstairs key, which is already in the yellow bag, the lesson plans, and any materials that you might need for the Believe and the Become activities. So those are all right over here. The yellow bag is here. It's already got the key in it. So the materials are very sparse. There's a balloon down there and Sharpies and paper. So everything should theoretically fit in that yellow bag every week. If for some reason it doesn't fit, just have a kid help carry it. If it's something giant, I will try to move it upstairs for you so it's already up there before Sunday. So once you are back in your, after large group will begin at 10:15, it will wrap up at 10:48. You will return to your small group spaces for the remainder of the time. You're going to do your Believe and your Become activities and then small group and discipleship discussion. We talked about this during training, but I want to reiterate in case if you've forgotten or if maybe you weren't at the training. Small group wrap up and discipleship discussion are both deeper discussions on kind of the themes that we cover with this week's story. If you feel like those discussion pieces can happen during your activities, then that is a great time to fit them in. So if you're doing more of an art-based activity and their hands are busy, but you want to talk about the discipleship discussion, that is a great time to do that. Now, a lot of times they are talking about other things during those activities, so you can't do those questions at the same time, but be looking for those opportunities. It's a great way to just kind of like fit it in there and make those choices as a teacher for how you're going to fit those things in there. All right, so now I'm going to move on to our small group, going over the small group lessons. So I'm going to start with 4th and 5th grade. So if you are just teaching 4th and 5th grade and you are not teaching large group, this is going to be the last portion of the video that you need to watch, unless if you are just curious about the rest of the things. After that, I will go over 2nd and 3rd grade and kindergarten and 1st grade small group. And then finally, I will end with the large group lesson. So feel free to only watch the part that pertains to you. So we're going to move into 4th and 5th grade. So everyone has these carts. We've had these for a couple months now. They are labeled lesson plans and take-home sheets. Please do make sure the kids are taking home their take-home sheets every week. It's a great way to reiterate what we learned about, as well as how to share it with families. So we've talked about this every week, but everything is labeled and color-coded in here. So your belong activity is from 10 until 10:10, and it is blue and it is titled Revealed. You need 0 supplies for this one. It also has the goal for what each of those activities is. And that is the same every week. So belong is always to experience God's love through a welcoming community. So Revealed is here. I'm not going to read through it. You can read through this on your own on the electronic copy, or you can always pause and see it here. But as you see, no supplies are needed. My video is not wanting to focus. No supplies are needed. I'm going to try switch this. Yep. Maybe that'll help. There we go. No supplies are needed and no prep is needed. So you just need to kind of read through it, know what is there. And as always, it is scripted. That is there to help you. If you don't have the time to look through it very well ahead of time, the script is going to be really, really helpful. Or if you're just feeling nervous and you like to see what the words from the people who developed our curriculum used, that's a great thing to do. If you feel comfortable with this and comfortable with your group, then I encourage you to use your voice with the kids, because they want to get to know you, not just how our curriculum phrased things for them. The next activity is for after large group, Believe God is in Control. And for this, you need coloring supplies, which is already just in the classroom, crayons and markers and things, Bibles and paper. And so that is here. God is in control, the orange, and right there it says the Believe. And so here it is. Again, it is scripted. It is a practice of our memory verse, our brand new last week, our brand new memory verse for October. Following that is your Become activity, which here is always going to be in purple. Here it is labeled Balloon Response Prayer. So you need a balloon and Sharpies. I threw them in here, but you do actually have Sharpies upstairs too. The balloon is not pre-blown up because I know that if I blow it up now, it's going to end up popped or lost before Sunday. So you are responsible for blowing up that balloon on Sunday if you're teaching in 4th and 5th grade. And then finally, we have our wrap up. This is where we talk about the me question that was set during large group. They do a he, we, me question. He and we are answered in large group. The me is answered at the end of small group. You set a challenge for the week, which I love this part. You pray together, you say goodbye, but then as you're kind of preparing for a dismissal, discipleship discussion, this is when you look at this week's story, which is going to be about, you can see in the corner, it's about Gideon. So large group is going to be teaching them the story of Gideon. And so just some concepts from that story and how it applies to our lives today. The discipleship discussion is going to be the same in every group. And you're talking about, what about unbelief? Which that's a huge thing for kids to try and, be able to speak about. And so this is a good place to do that as a group. So that is it for 4th and 5th grade. If you are just teaching 4th and 5th grade small group, you're not teaching large group, and you're not interested in knowing what the other groups are doing, now is a great time to stop your video. But now I'm going to move into the small group for kindergarten and 1st grade and 2nd and 3rd grade, because you will be doing these same activities. All right, my 2nd and 3rd grade and kindergarten and 1st grade small group teachers. I just pulled the lesson plan off the cart. They are on the carts as usual. They are labeled. We have a ball this week, so I had to pull that shelf out a little bit. But this is the same format that we've been following for the last 2 months. And we're going to start with Belong. That is color-coded blue and labeled. It's called Purpose Pictures. After large group, then you're going to do your Believe activity, which is color-coded orange, called Catch the Verse. And you're going to need a ball for that, as well as Bibles. And then we jump to the Become activity, which is why we have the arrow, because this comes last. For the Become activity, you're going to do Bad Day Beanbag Toss. which you're going to need printable. They're already pre-cut, so you just have the pre-cut pages and a beanbag. And then your small group wrap up, and followed by discipleship discussion. So quickly walking through that, what this looks like is, if you look at the pages, they are always color coded from that cover sheet. They say in the corner what part it is, as well as the title that is on the front too. So purpose pictures for our belong activity. It is scripted. You can follow the script if that's how you feel comfortable, or you can use your own words to get across the same message. Then after large group, you're going to jump into your believe activity, which is catch the verse. And for this, you need the ball, which is right there, as well as Bibles, which the kids have their own, or they can borrow one from the classroom. Following that, you do your your become activity, which purple, it's always going to be purple, and it's labeled there. They needed printable pages and scissors, which that part is already done for you. So they're just right here in the cart. They're already pre-cut, and you needed a beanbag. So they're right there for that. And then it is also scripted if you want to read through that on your electronic copy, which is on Planning Center, or you can just pause it and read it here. Then you have your wrap up, which is where we answer that me question that was set during large group. You have the he, me, we questions set in small group. The he and the we are answered during large group. I'm sorry, I think I said small group, but those three questions are set during large group. And the me question is what is saved for during small group. The he and the we are answered during large group. So you answer the me question, you set a challenge for the week, which I love this. And then you say goodbye, you pray together. And then discipleship discussion, which I already talked about this with the other group, but in case if you skipped that part, you're going to be looking at kind of the themes from this week's story about Gideon, which is always in the corner for the story that they're studying during large group. It's about, how does unbelief affect our world today? All right, so that is it for small group for kindergarten and first graders, as well as our second and third graders. And now I'm going to move into the large group portion. So if you're curious to know about what we're looking at for Gideon this week, feel free to keep watching. Otherwise, I will just see you on Sunday. All right, large group teachers. Actually, I am one of the large group teachers this week. So whoever is joining me this week, plus me, there are 3 copies of the lesson plan, because one is for our mighty tech helper, which we talked about during training. Who will be in charge of the remote control to change our slides for us. This is the setup for it. Everything is broken down very tight for time. So we have our welcome, which includes the intro video, find it in the Bible teaching. That's the longest portion, 10 minutes. And then the review and the wrap up. So I'm going to walk you through it quickly of what to expect. So this first page, blue for the welcome section. And see how it is always color coded? It's blue on the cover and then blue on the page. They're doing a fun activity where they're trying to drink water out of a bowl, which is why I have bowls set up here. They will be filled with water on Sunday for the kids to try to drink water out of it without picking it up. So after that fun activity, then you are going to watch the intro video, and then you're going to set the 3 big questions for the week, the he, the we, and the me questions. Following that same teacher is going to move into the find it in the Bible, which color coded. It's going to have to start at 10:23, and you have 2 minutes to do it. So quickly, you talk about God's big story. It's going to show up on a slide. You also point the kids to see it on the wall, because we always want them to understand that every story in the Bible is important. Every story is a part of God's big story. So where the story falls this week. So this is the scripted part here, and then you're going to open the Bible, show them the title page for the book of Judges, and have them turn to Judges 7, because that is where this week's story is. Our 4th and 5th graders, sometimes these lessons might feel a little bit elementary for them. They've seen the story of Gideon before. This is a good time to encourage that if you want to read while they are listening to the lesson, they're welcome to do that. So our 4th and 5th graders especially, they can keep their Bibles open to Judges 7 and read while the lesson is being presented to them. It's a great time for them to actually look at God's word about it. So that should wrap up at 10:25, and we're immediately jumping into the Bible teaching. So the Bible teaching is super fun this week. We always start with praying, and then that is when it is scripted. There's some teaching illustrations that go in here. And then the kids get to participate. So where does it start? The kids get to stand up. Oh, here we go. Have the group stand up, have 2/3 of the group sit down. of the remaining kids that are standing, have 97% of them sit down. And they're talking about how the army was shrinking and shrinking. And now that all the kids are sitting down that are representing the Midianite army, and the kids that are standing are what is left of the Israelite army. So the Israelite army is then going to surround the Midianite army, and they're going to get a cup and a glow stick. And so this is going to be just really fun. They're going to get to crack their glow sticks and act out this thing. So those 10 kids that are remaining are going to get to do that. Now, it does say here, you're reading Judges 7:20 directly from the Bible. It is written here for you. If you want to hold it up in your Bible and show it, if you have the time to do that, then that works too. And at the end, we always point to Jesus. Where does this story leave us that will eventually lead to Jesus coming? So that is the biggest portion. That is 10 minutes. That will end at 10:35, and then we will jump to the review, which is in purple, color-coded again. We show the Bible review video, and then we do these questions. All of them are on slides, so our mighty tech helper will do that for us. And they're going to use their bodies to make T's and F's for true and false for these 8 questions. And then finally, wrap up is blue, and that is where you answer the he and the we questions. You talk about the bright idea for this week, you go over the memory verse and watch the memory verse video, and you pray the kids out. Now, if you are running short on time, this is when you get to be creative. Review could be cut if it needed to be. We have to get everyone out at 10:48. So you have to kind of like, if you realize you're running over on a certain section, you got to kind of like be creative and think on your feet and figure out things to cut. You could cut the memory verse video. That's another good place you could cut. You could cut the Bible review video and just do the questions, or cut the questions and just do the video. There's lots of ways that you could probably cut 5 minutes if you needed to. But that is it for this week. Thank you guys so much for serving. I look forward to serving with you this Sunday. If you have any questions and you don't have my phone number, you can find me on Planning Center. Feel free to call me or text me or ask me in person anytime. I'd be happy to talk about the curriculum or answer any questions that you might have. I'm excited to see you guys. Thank you. Have a great week.